So I threw up the same things that I had right before the movie started. Watch for what is said and what is not. Obviously, in 1936, protege is probably the best word that you could use for a, what would you call them?
Boy toy.
Boy toy. I always thought that was pretty darn funny. So it's a screwball comedy. If it was fast, we obviously saw that. Plenty of Depression era class critique and conflict. In 36, I'm sure this hit a lot stronger for people who saw this who were of lesser means, to see how ridiculous the rich people are portrayed, and you know how they have so much money they just don't know what to do with themselves. The forgotten man, they use that word a lot. Apparently Franklin Delano Roosevelt used that in a speech when he was running in 32, and it was a phrase that people used quite a bit. And obviously the Hoovervilles, you know, the encampments where people were staying, everybody blamed it on Herbert Hoover, which is why they call them Hoovervilles.
There was one on the west side too, over where the west side highway
Sure.
is now, the marina.
Okay. Yeah. Irresponsible wealth and class inequality, like I just mentioned. You know, what actually changes at the end? That's the one thing about this movie that has bothered me a little bit. Not a lot, it's when you start to really think about it, but, you know, the men in that Hooverville were not necessarily janitors. I mean, they mentioned the one guy who headed the bank, and it always struck me as a little odd that, you know, it's one rich guy helping another rich guy, and then they turn around and just make it business as usual, and, you know, basically turn them all into servants. I mean, they had bad jobs, sure, but, you know, capitalism, exactly.
That's not how I took it, but,
Yeah, well, how would you take it?
that they were, I mean, they weren't living under the bridge anymore. I mean, it seemed like they had places to live. And probably a small job where they had nothing.
Right.
You know.
Oh, absolutely, I
so,
mean, that's certainly the short-term change.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, they were in a better spot than they were last month, but were they in a better spot than they were in 29?
Oh,
Not
definitely,
necessarily.
yeah.
So, I hope, anybody else? I mean, I hope everybody enjoyed this. Yeah.
One question,
Yeah.
some of and it's a lot of screwball comedy like this, where there's a lot of action, a lot of people talking in a room, a lot of overlapping dialogue. How do they film those? I mean, it sounds like a very complex script where I would talk and you would talk, and people moving around. Was all choreographed to do it in one shot, or take many shots together, right? You know?
Well, actually, it's interesting you bring that up, because that was one of the main that's one of the main reasons William Powell had to talk Carol Lombard into doing it, because she didn't think that she could handle all that dialogue that fast. But yeah, I'm sure that was many different takes put together. I don't think they probably cheated as much as we do these days with cut. But yeah, it's interesting. I would say that was very hard to film. It's not as fast or as crazy as something like His Girl Friday, Rosalind Russell in that movie. I mean, you can't even keep up with her. I don't know how she kept her tongue going that fast. Yeah. So, anything else?
Yeah, one of the things I noticed was there were some jokes that I'm sure were very funny
Oh, yeah.
at the time. Most of them directed toward women, and none of us were laughing.
That's the other thing that I kind of neglected to bring up is when we're watching some of these films, I mean, making jokes about Indians and how silly women are, that type of thing. One of the things that I've had to do over the years to really help myself enjoy these movies is you really have to put yourself in the frame of mind of the time. Because modern sense, I mean, this one isn't bad, but there are plenty of movies that are considered classics that with our modern sensibilities, you go, oh, I shouldn't even be in the room, that type of thing. But yeah, certainly we don't laugh at it, absolutely, and, you know, we don't even really laugh at, people being drunk anymore, like that. I mean, think about how everybody thought Foster Brooks is one of the funniest people ever, and I've looked at his stuff lately, I'm like, ooh.
Fred Skeleton.
Yeah, exactly.
Another question, some of the character actors here, I mean, some were credited, some weren't credited, you see them all the time. How do those guys put together their careers? Because they must have been making little bits in movies all the time to kind of keep going.
I wonder that even today. I mean, you see people on streaming shows on TV, and I actually heard somebody, Richard Kind. I don't know if anybody knows who Richard Kind is. He's a character actor. He's been around forever, and he goes, you know, you used to be able to make a living on a 22 episode TV series, but now everything on streaming is 10 episodes. You can't make a living out of it. But yeah, those faces back then, I mean, there was the guy who was playing, the guy who was receiving all of the stuff in the scavenger hunt. Very distinctive face. His name was Franklin Pangborn. He used to be in everything.
Grady Sutton, was Grady Sutton the guy who was gonna marry her?
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
I know,
Okay,
I'm looking up for it, but yeah, those faces you see all the time.
Yeah. How do they make a living? You know,
Voiceover.
it's piecework, right?
Commercials.
You just hopefully you have another job next week. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what people thought of the ending. I mean, what do you think that they got married?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. It is.
Cause I kind of read it two ways.
Oh, sure.
That one way is that actually he loved her and didn't want to say it, and the other was that he, that he wasn't into women, and that was just sort of, well, I don't know.
Oh.
It just seemed to me that they chopped it off, leaving it kind of scratching your
Well,
head.
yeah, he did say that he'd gone through this before.
Yeah.
He was
He had
married
been so
before.
hurt, that's
And
what
had been
sent her
hurt.
off the rails to
Yeah,
begin with.
Exactly.
He's afraid of
But
being
he stood up there with her like he's just dazed. But it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think that's
And will
probably.
they live happily ever after?
There was no license, is that an out?
Yeah,
But he did say something
exactly.
about, well, we don't have a license, but sure, I can do it.
And he did say he was very.
A good family, that,
Yeah, the good family, that takes care of it.
listen, if you can get a mail order thing to marry people these days.
You still need the license though.
Yeah. No, I would say they got married,
Okay.
but it's whatever you bring to it, right? We don't know. It's not.
Hollywood always liked to have the ending, that end.
Well, but they could have had it end with the big smooch or something, and they didn't. They just chopped it off.
Yeah. So you didn't get the closure you wanted.
No, I liked it left uncertain.
Okay, good.
I liked
Yeah.
it left with as a kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about movies, right? I mean, it's like the two people get together at the end that are meant to be together, but the next scene in the movie is, oh my God, now I have to go break up with the other woman, and now I have to, and then my parents are gonna be mad at me, and then what are we gonna do about our bank accounts, and all this kind of stuff, you know, it's a very upbeat ending that's not realistic, of course.
Yeah, one thing that I was impressed by was how, when Butler's, when he came back and was leaving them, and how he had a talk with them, and they were, their response was, you know, what have I been thinking all it just, he got them thinking. And
Well,
it's-
right.
it seemed.
And they got their comeuppance,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
But they got their comeuppance, but they were
But
left in a
they
perfect,
learned, huh?
but they were left in a, just a, in a better spot than they were. So-
Yeah, yeah.
So hooray for all the rich people in the movie, right?
But he was
Well, I mean, they
also-
learned some lessons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also saying that he was grateful for the lessons he'd learned in being in that.
So for the fussiness of it all, I think
Yeah.
was,
I mean, it was sort of like he'd been them too, and now he had a new perspective.
Mhm.
so for the time, it's like people needed something to, in those miserable times, that people needed to have a little bit of fun and needed to see the silliness of things.
Well, of course, it's
And-
an,
and
it's
then-
an escape, right?
Yeah, it was an escape.
Mhm.
So it was kind of a double thing in that regard.
And who had seen it before, if you remember? Yeah.
Did it make a lot of money? Was it a popular movie at the time?
Very, yeah. Very popular. I mentioned, up for a lot of Academy Awards, but not Best Picture. It lost to a movie called The Great Ziegfeld, who I think people remember My Man Godfrey more than The Great Ziegfeld.
Yeah.
But that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Would we line up today to see The Life of Millionaires?
No.
I think that's online, actually.
But there's a movie called The Lake of the Billionaires?
No.
Would we line up to see it?
Would we line up to see it?
Unfortunately, it's
On
on our phones
Big
every
on
day,
TV.
all day long, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing, back then, there was character development, and it seems like a lot of the movies today are just action, action, action.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you never really know these characters, other than they're usually Superman type personality, but there's no character.
I agree with that. I also would say though, in older movies like this, it's amazing how fast people fall in love. It's like 2.5 days.
I think it was 5
Yeah,
seconds.
exactly.
Well, another fast transformation, the only moment that really didn't work for me was the evil sister, the one who hid the pearls and everything, when she at the very end says, oh, thank you, you made,
Yeah,
He made it fresh.
He needed
Yeah.
a spanking.
exactly.
But, and he didn't, well, I guess the parents figured it out what had happened, so. I was just gonna say, he didn't rat her out, the parents, but.
No, he had ulterior motives.
Yeah.
of-
Oh, yeah.
Of a positive nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took her down a bit too, but,
Yep.
so,
Simple morality
yeah,
tales.
yeah.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Next one's gonna be quite different.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be television.
Yes.
And what date will that be?
It is the 13th.
Oh, good, be back.
Yeah, October 13th.
Margaret will be
So-
back.
Oh, no, no. So, again, thank you for coming, and, I hope to see, tell others that it's fun and come early, because it fills up,
We do need fireworks next time.
Are you sure that love of the art form? Nice to meet you, I'm Pat.
Hi, Pat. Keith. Nice to meet you.
Switching between the
No idea.
The links?
They were sitting in the sofa.
Oh, yeah, that is it.
We know nothing about them.
No, I was,
Share back, okay?